wonderful Sunday afternoon. This is Rubbin Minds. Welcome. My name is Ebuka Obiuchendu. It's also a brand new month, the month of June. The year is almost halfway done. But I guess most importantly, the past week has seen a lot of Nigerians paying attention to the government as the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, sort of marked his second year in office, reflecting on his achievements and also looking forward to what the country holds or what governance holds for Nigerians in the years to come. But a lot of Nigerians are worried because it looks like politicking is already in full gear. We've spent a better part of this year talking about, politicians defecting and whether the opposition is going to band together and form a new party. We're 2 whole years away. Many people are not sure how much more governance we're going to see in the years ahead or in the months ahead. But we're going to be talking today about, the president's last 2 years, grading Tinubu's cabinet, amongst other things. It's no gainsaying the fact that this president has the largest cabinet in Nigeria's history, and they came in to power with a lot of promises and expectations. There was a lot of talk about, him having been a governor in the largest states in the country, the largest economy in the country, and all the achievements he made in Lagos and how he was going to translate that to the national space. A lot of questions are left unanswered, and we're going to try and see if we can make a headway with that today. I'm joined here now by Chiamaka Dike, who's senior editor at GST, and Adedotun Ajulo, a lawyer and public affairs analyst. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
Very welcome. So let's reflect a bit, because Mr. President was everywhere between Lagos and Abuja in the last week, commissioning and making all the speeches. And, we hear there's a documentary that's supposed to be out as well with the ministers and members of his cabinet speaking on the achievements of the last 2 years. You don't seem very impressed. We're going to get to your reports, or the GST reports later on the show. But just how have you felt about the last 2 years in general?
So I think the last 2 years has been a case of frustration, if I was going to use one word to just paint these last 2 years. It's been a thing of, the president coming in 2023, making grand promises to the people of floating the naira, of removing fuel subsidy, which, back then were very debatable topics, and some people were also for the motion. But then he did that, and he did that without any consideration of the after effects or the consequences this would have on people. And so you're seeing it spiral back into unheard of records of inflation, right? Unheard of records of, rising cost of living and so on and so forth. So honestly, it's been frustrating. Yeah. That's how I would say the last 2 years has been.
That's a fair point, right? Because the counter-argument the government always uses is, first of all, these things had to go.
Yeah.
But they also tell you that all 3 major candidates in the last election promised to remove fuel subsidy. So this was not necessarily unique to Mr. President. But like she said, the after effects of this and what this has meant for Nigerians, we're seeing more people fall into below the poverty line. Unemployment is continuing to be a problem. And these are not necessarily an issue of statistics. We all walk the streets and we see what's happening. Adedotun, what's your take?
For me, like you said, a whole lot of frustration. However, I'm being careful to say, is there any way we will have had it better? When you look at the situation, and in the last preceding government, I doubt if there's any other way we can have it done as we have it, other than the way we're having it now. For me, I think Nigeria is just coming to live in its reality for the very first time in the last 2 or 3 dispensations. Just last week, from a single individual, a property, about 750 duplexes, were said to have been recovered from an individual in Nigeria. So how best do you think we will have gotten, taken off from that point? So a lot of frustration, like Ebuka said, going through the streets is an eyesore for everybody. But of a truth, I think we're only living in our reality. The subsidy had to go. The subsidy had to go. The naira, we can't continue to suppress whatever it is for the dollar and the rest of it. So floating the naira, I think for me, it was that we had no other alternative. So one can only, the pain in all of this for me is that unfortunately, we are not having opposition currently in the country, taking up the government. It's okay. let's see the way we shall make things better and get things easier for Nigerians. So we are living in our reality as far as I'm concerned. Yes, we are frustrated, but I can tell you that it's a frustration that if it didn't happen today, it's going to happen some 10 years' time, or when our own children are getting up to our age and the rest of it. So we are living in our reality, regardless of the frustration.
Chiamaka, is that a fair way to look at it?
Okay, thank you for asking that, because I was going to say something to just buttress that. I think Nigerians, we've kind of already gotten used to, and it's sad to say this, but we've gotten used to the idea of bad governance, right? We have gotten used to the idea of, choosing between the lesser devil when it comes to elections. But I do think that even though Nigerians were not expecting miracles to happen, but they were not expecting things to be this bad. Like this bad. I mean, there was Buhari, there was Goodluck Jonathan, there were all these presidents that came before Tinubu, but people were not, at least they thought there would be a semblance of maintenance of the status quo. But in Tinubu's time, we're getting to see like record levels. Like, I'm not sure you're understanding when somebody says that the inflation in Nigeria, or how it was, it's not been like this in a generation. Right? And that's not something we said of previous presidents. So the fact that, yes, we are expecting this, I mean,
if I'm allowed to come in, what was the previous government, what were they offering?
I mean...
I just cited an instance. What were they offering? You see, we shouldn't be going back and forth on the... You see,
just to cut you in there. Sorry to cut you in, because I want us to have a clear picture of everything. Because I hear this previous government conversation a lot from the present administration. And it's frustrating for a lot of Nigerians, because Nigerians don't vote individuals, who vote parties. The same party handed over to this party. If you're going to go back to the previous party before that, who have their many flaws, but we also have to stand on the fact that that government, the government of President Jonathan, I believe, did want to remove this subsidy at a time when it might have been more convenient, and this president was one of the biggest opponents to that. So it's very baffling for a lot of Nigerians to see you oppose this at a time when it could have been easier to manage. You come in now, you remove it at a time when it's harder to manage, and you don't give any palliatives. Isn't that a fair thing for Nigerians to complain about?
Yes, it's a fair thing for Nigerians to complain about. Like I've said, you see, she took it off from the point where the frustration is there.
So it's an indictment of the party.
The frustration is there, no doubt. But where I'm looking at it from is the fact that, you see, you've made mention, it was a lot easier when this came up in the times of Jonathan, and the current dispensation, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was one of the, in fact, was the major force against subsidy. Who told you that in some 10, 20 years' time, today won't be the better time for us to remove the subsidy? In as much as our reality currently is pain and nothing other than pain, I won't even say poverty. People are going through a lot. People cannot even afford to treat themselves for basic malaria that you just go walk into the chemist and get, and the rest of it. But the truth of the matter is, like I've said, the reality is that we can't continue. Yes, we may not be talking, like you mentioned, we'll be talking about the palliative, that enough is not done to get Nigerians prepared for what we are going through. But come to think of it, how do you even think that can be achieved? In a country where you don't even have database. There's no database. You see, it's very easy for us in Lagos, in Abuja, and Port Harcourt to speak. But for those of us that goes into interior villages, Nigeria is large. There are certain persons who don't even have this access to information like you and I are getting. So there's no even, see, trying to get this thing fixed takes a whole lot. And I must tell you that I was believing so much that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was going to start with all of this, but I can't even find the template, if I must be sincere. And that's my worries.
We need to move on, because, I mean, I have a lot to respond to that, because if you seek to be president, you know the country, and he's been a politician for decades. So I don't think a lot of Nigerians buy the excuse of the country is too large.
No,
he knew what
I didn't say the country is too large.
You literally said
yes.
But let's move on to
alternatives.
Let's move on to, because GST, which is the organization you represent, put out a rating for the ministers currently in government. And I can't see anybody's that. I think the highest score here is 6. I'm guessing out of 10,
yes,
which is the Minister of the Interior. Even though you pushed back on the fact that he's not doing enough for the prison system, you know, the Minister of Finance gets a 4 for the fact that his economic policies have not necessarily reflected. I want to tackle you on the one that I found very, very interesting, which is the Minister of Works, Dave Umahi. Whom you, if I quote it, it says, Minister Umahi is so terrible that he doesn't even deserve to be rated at all. And a lot of Nigerians might find that baffling, because infrastructure is the one thing I think this government has touted themselves on. Especially even the last week, we saw the commissioning of, at least the part commissioning of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road. He's commissioning roads across the country. Isn't that his job? You don't think that's enough?
Okay. You know, for someone that touts a lot about infrastructure, it's strange to say that as of 2024, if you check the Bureau of Public Procurement, you find that Umahi has only achieved up to 5% of his road projects. As of 2024, like he has only achieved up to 5%. Not 10, not 15, not 20, but 5%. And that's saying something, right? There's also like other roads too that, you know, they've needed attention for a long time. You have the Kano-Kaduna road, the Enugu-Onitsha road, the Niger Delta Expressway. You have these specific highways, right? And again, it just feels like these are like, you know, just not getting enough attention, the attention that they deserve. So it's a thing where you have him saying all of that. And I mean, let's not even forget Landmark, right? The issue that happened with Landmark last year, you know, he just decided to bulldoze a whole beach, take away people's livelihoods, take away even Paul's livelihood. And you did all of this, but you did not consider a pre-assessment survey, right? I think it's an ESIA. I think that's the acronym. But you did not consider that before you did that, and you call yourself a Minister of Works, right?
But you say the benefits of this road will far outweigh whatever tourism potential has been lost by that one thing. You don't think that's...
I mean, even though you want to put it like that, but the fact is that you did more harm than good in this moment, in this present time. And it's a thing of saying that you could have done things way better. And even like the major roads that need attention, right? The Kano-Kaduna, Enugu-Onitsha and Co., you have not yet put firm hands or a firm foot down to say that, okay, you are going to renovate these roads, right? And it's a problem. It's a problem to me, and it's a problem for everybody that worked on this research project that we did for GIST, because it's a thing of saying, okay, what are the priorities? What are we going to, like, how are you basing your projects, right? Take, for instance, I'm going to mention another person, Wike, which has been another subject of...
yeah, I noticed you rated him a 3.
Yes,
here.
Yes, it is another subject of conversation here. You know, Wike, you know, people have said he renovated roads, he's done some, you know, good renovation projects for Abuja, but you still find dilapidated schools in Abuja. You still find communities in Abuja that do not even have clean water, and you call yourself the Minister of the FCT. This is Nigeria's capital, and you call yourself the Minister of the FCT, but Abuja communities, some of them do not have water, clean water, do not have, what is it called? Do not have all these amenities, right? Let's not forget the International Conference Center that he's spending 39 billion naira to renovate. And when you look at that 39 billion naira, if you check the budget allocation for the Northeast for road projects, that's twice or over twice that amount that you're using on one building.
Okay.
So this I mean, what are your priorities?
Yeah, I mean,
really?
we'll get to other ministers, but your take on that. These are 2 ministers who are probably the most visible, and she's rated them so poorly.
Well,
yeah.
I don't know how you came about your rating and the rest of it, but I would have loved if, to be privileged to read, maybe after now to read. For me, talking about Minister Umahi, the Minister of Works and the rest of it, you are looking at it from the project. I perceive it's been looked at from the projects being accomplished as we speak. But it's far beyond that. I'm aware the popular Ibadan-Ife Expressway is being awarded. And let's not forget, we are talking about just 2 years. I'm not holding brief for the government. I have my issues basically around the ministers and the rest of it. Let's not forget, we are just talking about 2 years into the government. So a lot of these roads, I'm aware, they have been awarded. Like the one from my place in Ondo State, down to Ondo State, down to Ore. I know it's undergoing construction. So for me, I don't think that rating is fair for Umahi. I was going to say the rating was not equally fair for Wike, but you've mentioned some basic things, which I think that those are quite objective enough. Yeah. Talking about dilapidated schools, talking about basic, when you are talking about Abuja, we should not just be looking at FCT. So for me, at that point, I agreed to a reasonable extent with you in terms of FCT.
But you said in just 2 years.
Yes.
Just like I said at the start of this show, we probably have a year, maybe, before governance shuts down. We know how this country works. And there's no guarantee, even if, let's speak hypothetically, you see, that he's going to be back for another 4 years. So it's enough to rate him in 2 years.
You know, we are rating, and we are saying, we are talking about construction, infrastructure, in terms of a road, talking about Umahi.
Yes.
And I'm saying, I don't know how they came about that rating.
Okay.
What we are saying is this: a lot of these roads are awarded.
Okay. Let's leave the awarded.
And completion are two
different things.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
For completion, you know what it takes to fix a road. If you remember when Lagos Ibadan Expressway was under construction, it took about 6-7 years for this road to be completed.
But some of those roads do not need 6 or 7 years.
That's what I'm saying.
Some of those roads do not even need a year.
But you wouldn't expect...
So it's easy to award, but it's not easy to complete. And this has been the issue of Nigerian ministers for a very long time, particularly ministers of works. It's a thing of awarding and not completing their project.
I don't think it would be fair that we should be looking at it that, okay, you are expecting a 100-kilometer road to be completed. You know, the associable issues when it comes to this
there's so much to talk about. So, let's move on to the Minister of Power, which you gave a 1.
Yeah.
A 1 out of 10. No achievements, lies about power supply in Nigeria. Within a year, the national grid has collapsed multiple times. Tariffs have gone up, and there's even talks about tariffs increasing, even on top of what we have now. I think most Nigerians would agree with that assessment. Let me start with you this time.
Well, the only issue I have with the current, it's not even about the minister.
Yeah.
It's the government, this administration, dispensation of Tinubu. You see, for me, I think it's a fair deal when it comes to power. Like, as it is right now, maybe from where I'm coming from, talking about my office, talking about my home, I observe that the power supply thing improved. However, my issue with the minister, my issue with Ministry of Power, is the fact that coming about this Band-Aid and the rest of it, I've always heard the argument that you see that policy in itself is discriminatory. And I think I was aware at some point some NGO took the government to court, whereby the same Nigeria, you feel like classify some persons as Band A, Band B, Band C.
It might have even been bearable if with the Band A you even got the power.
Well,
I am a Band A customer. I don't even get power.
I am one to. My office in Marina, I am one to. And I am one to. And considerably, I must say that we have power. But you need to know how much I pay. Sometimes I pay as much as, for running an office, a law firm, I pay as much as 300,000 naira for power supply in a month. So that in itself is even discriminatory. The fact that my grandmother in the village access power more than her, we are all Nigerians.
So she's
and you aren't even, would you say that you are getting like the reasonable amount of power in a day?
Well, like I said, for me, for the said Band-Aid, I think I'm getting reasonably.
Reasonably.
You get 18 hours of power.
Well, for my office, I get.
Because I don't get anywhere close to that. That's what Band-Aid
for my office.
But so she's called him a 1. Do you think that's a good score?
Well, for the Ministry of Power, it's a good score.
It's funny.
Okay.
It's a good score. Like I said, you see, the whole idea of Band-A has even defeated. Well, it's counterproductive for whatever it is that they think they want to. So for me, the whole idea of some people will have access to power 18 hours, while some, because they are in Band C, they will have access to power for about an hour. That in itself, as for me, is Rating him 1.
And let's not forget the people that were on band C, but they switched them to band A.
To band A and all of that. So
two other very critical sectors I want to touch on before we go, because this government and the APC's policy as a whole, right from 2015, has been about agriculture and how they want to, you know, kick things up and, you know, fix unemployment with that. Your report says he should be known as the Minister of Hunger. That's Abubakar Kyari. So you didn't even give him a rating at all. So I guess that's a 0.
No, there's a rating there.
Okay, I don't seem to have a rating here.
Okay.
We'll get your rating, but defense as well is a big one because we've seen what's happening with insecurity. Unfortunately, we have lost a number of our service personnel to bandits and terrorists. But the issue of insecurity is still a huge conversation, whether it's in the Middle Belt, whether it's in the Southeast even, or the Southwest, or the Northeast still. You know, so it makes you wonder, these two sectors, do you see any deliberate policy to move things?
Okay, you said Minister of Defense and Minister of
Agriculture.
Agriculture. So for defense, it's a
you gave him a 4/10.
It's a tough one because I mean there was the deal with the Niger Delta,
with Niger
State,
Republic.
yeah, Niger Republic, that I can agree with. I can, you know, but then there's this resurgence of Boko Haram, which I think they are not taken seriously enough. I mean, they have struck Borno, especially Maiduguri. They've struck Maiduguri very, very hard in like the last couple of weeks. You have Benue State that, you know, people are not even so sure about what's going on there because, you know, conflicting stories and all of that.
Plateau.
You know, Plateau is also another one too. So it's a thing where I personally feel like there's so much action that could be done, but they are not taking as much. Agriculture, we can definitely see what's going on with food prices and the food items and all of that. And it's a thing where we are asking them, okay, alongside the Minister of Finance, I assume, how exactly are you going to make sure that these things are at a stable price, right? That the inflation that is caused by supply, right, is being, you know, taken care of. And I don't think we are seeing any of that recently.
What do you rate the Minister of Agri?
Well, I think this is the only time we will come to agree
on
more
both.
perfectly on both ends. And you see, what I even want to point out, which I want to avert Bukar mind to, do you even get to know these ministers? You get to even forget some of the ministry. It was only as we were talking that it occurs to me that we have a ministry called Ministry of Blue Economy.
There's even a Minister of Livestock.
So, you see, if I have my one-on-one with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu today, what I would put before him is the cabinet. I think
we need to wrap up.
Yes.
We need to wrap up.
Yes.
Sorry, because he did reshuffle the cabinet in August.
Yes.
But it doesn't seem like a lot was pumped into it. Let's quickly go through a few of the names. Wale Edu, Minister of Finance, what do you rate?
I think I would rate him a 4. Because
what about you?
Wale Edu, well, we should rate him 6-7. Yes. We should rate him
Really?
6-7.
Minister of Health, Mohammed Ali Pate.
6.
3.
3?
Yes.
Why?
Interesting. I can see that.
3?
He has a lot of good PR, but I guess a lot of Nigerians are not feeling it yet. Maybe it's one of those cases with the works as well, where there's plans, but they haven't come into effect. Yes, on Wike, you said 3.
3.
Yes, on Wike should be 6. Should be 6 from
Tunji Alausa, Minister of Education. This jam thing and a lot of primary education is not, I don't know.
No,
from a 4 to 6.
No, when you look at this issue of net fund and all of that, the technical schools and
so something is happening.
At least something is happening in that ministry.
Minister of Interior,
6.
6.
No, I love the analysis from Minister of Interior. You see, it's all about passport and nothing else.
But there's a lot more that's
beyond that.
The biometric entry that you do
Nigerian
for
Correctional
airports.
Service and the rest of it. So it's as if that passport, being that of the airlines, is just where it's been concentrated and the rest of it. So,
Minister of Aviation, Festus Keyamo.
Yes, he should get his 7. He should have his scarf.
6.
Close enough. Dede Alake, Minister of Solid Minerals.
I don't know.
I mean, he resumed mining in Zamfara, so I guess he can get some.
But there's also a lot of talk about illegal mining still being flourished.
Yes, most of these insecurity issues that you see in Benue and the rest of it
are thriving because of that.
4.
So you're giving them what?
3.
3.
Okay, fine.
Anatu Musawa, Minister of Arts, Culture and the Creative Economy.
I don't know. I can't even remember he's a minister.
Oh, wow.
She's pretty visible.
Yes,
well,
she
I don't know if
is.
it reflects, but she's pretty
maybe I'll
visible.
be very, what is it called? Honestly.
No, if you're in the arts and culture space, you'll be seeing, yeah.
No,
But there's so much more that needs to be done.
At the time in this country, you know, at the beck and call, you can talk about
and
the
it's an easy ministry to shine.
You know,
let's get 2 more. Bosun Tijani, Minister of Communications.
2.
Wow.
5.
Oh, you went higher this time. Why?
Yeah, I think I'll do 5. Just because, I mean, all of them, in our opinion, is very, you know, they've not performed to the best of their ability. But Tijani, at least you can say that he's still doing something regardless, because he has he's maintained partnerships with Fiber One, Starlink,
it's not enough for him. Finally.
Okay, what about the 90,000 kilometer fiber optic broadband that he wants to do?
All right, let's Nigerians is this getting to lay your people.
Let's do final one. Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Tugar. I don't know.
I have to remind myself of that name.
I'm on a 3 with him.
I have to remind myself.
I just saw a conversation with the former minister of transport.
For about 2 years,
Amechi,
ambassadors have been recalled.
Yes, we don't even have ambassadors. Well, we need to go. Thank you very much. The conversation continues. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Now, Tuesday, Nigeria celebrated Children's Day, and I always wonder why it's not a national public holiday for all of us, because we're all children of somebody. But of course, young Nigerians celebrated the day, and it's a day to sort of mark, you know, what should be the future of this country. And today we're joined by a very special guest, a star, should I say in the making or a star already, because he has so many features already under his belt. He's an actor, and am I right, you're 10 years old? How old are you?
I'm 11.
11. Joined here by Finifoluwa Asenuga. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
You're very welcome. Thanks for being here. How did you celebrate Children's Day? Do you celebrate Children's Day?
Tough question.
Because you're doing adult work now.
I do celebrate Children's Day. I'm a child.
Yeah.
I still do, like, stuff. Yeah, I do celebrate Children's Day.
Yeah. Do you think it's an important day to have?
Yeah, it's really important because we're tired and we need a break. So
tired from what?
Yes, chores, everything. It's tiring. So like we deserve a break. That's why Children's Day was created.
Fair enough. Good to see you here.
Thank you.
I like the fact that you started off with that, saying, you know, children are tired and all of that. But I wonder what your impression of, you know, children in Nigeria today is. You know, how you feel like the future looks like for young people. I don't know how much you pay attention to, you know, policy and government or whatever that is. But what do you think the future looks like for young people with the way the country is today? I
feel like there are more creatives out there, but the thing is that they don't have the opportunity. Yeah. Because most children, they don't have, like, people look down on them and stuff. So, like, I don't feel like they think you're too young. Yeah, like, when you grow, you do it. When you grow, you do it. So, like, I feel like they have talents, but, like, the thing is that they can't pursue the talents. Yeah. So, yeah, you started acting at what age? I started acting at age 8. 8. And you've featured in so many, Mikolo, Muri & Co., Finding Me, and recently... Make Mission. Make Mission. What made you go into acting? So, basically, I didn't, like, know I wanted to act because it was something unexpected. Like, this was what happened. Me and my mom, we were just like scrolling, and then we stumbled on this acting training called Kids Can Act, and my mom was like, I was like, I can act. She's like, no, you can't act. The only thing you know how to do is talk. And I'm like, no. So she has to like put me through tests before like I could go. Before she was like, all right, you can go. Yeah. So then I went for the training. I got selected. I was top 30. Nice. And then I featured in my first movie, and then that's how it went. So did you get the movie role from the acting class? Yes. Okay, what role was that? The role was Mikolo. Okay. And the thing is that My first movie was a banger, Mikolo, because Mikolo was a blockbuster movie and it was in cinemas, and that was what pushed me out.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
How was it being on set, you know, with all of these people who are in the industry already, who know what they're doing? How do you not get intimidated?
Intimidated? I won't use the word intimidated. I would just say, like, they push me to be better, to be the better version of myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did they treat you like a child? Did they treat you like, you know, you said earlier that people don't take you seriously. Did you find that, do you find that happens as well in the movie industry where they're like, you'll be fine?
No.
Yeah.
No.
You get treated like, you know what you're doing. Do you enjoy it though?
Yeah, it's fun. It's
Considering
fun.
it wasn't something you planned for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I didn't enjoy it, I'll tell my mom, I'm like, I don't have interest in this thing. I don't want to do it anymore.
How does that work with school though?
That's the thing. My school has like this online platform where like I do school online if I'm not in school, so like I can join class. So like if I'm on set, if I have my free time, maybe we're back at the hotel, I just like open my laptop and start class.
Yeah. Has it affected your grades in any way? Do you worry about that though? If you get busier, for example?
No, I don't.
Yeah. Because I'm asking that because there are young people who want to do what you're doing, right? And maybe the fear a lot of parents have is it going to suffer? Is school going to suffer?
Yeah.
So it's interesting to know that you're coping well. What class are you in now?
Year 6.
Year 6.
Yeah.
Okay. And so far so good.
So far so good. Yeah.
Do your friends know what you do now?
The thing is that some of them know, but some of them try because they know me, but they're not sure if it's me. And I try to keep it on a low profile because, like, keep it low because you don't want, like, all the attention and be like, oh my God, you know that? Oh my God. So, like,
But I'm sure there are people who know.
Yeah, there are people who know.
Yeah. Do they treat you differently now?
Yeah, there are some bullies. They're like, you think you're the only one big boy that because you're acting, you think you're... And this was what happened. I was just on my C. I was talking with, like, my best friends. Next thing you know, I feel like you're the only one. The guy slapped me. Like, it's crazy, though.
Why?
Because I don't know, maybe he's intimidated or something.
Was he a classmate or an older student?
Classmate. So, like, they're bullies.
So how do you handle situations like that?
Most times, because that's why I'm a yellow belter, so... So, most times, like, dodging, and I stand up for myself, and then I go report.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you worry that that's going to be a pattern, I mean, as you get more roles and all of that?
Yeah, I think that there will be more, like, online trolling and blah, 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 blah. So, like, I have to, like, find a way to deal with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you find that bullying is a big problem in schools generally? Because, I think we all went through school and we knew it was a problem at the time. Do you think it's still a big problem, and how do schools handle it? And maybe the question should be, what do you think schools should be doing, if you have any ideas? Because you're the ones going through it now, right?
Yeah. So I feel like schools should, I don't know.
Listen to you guys more?
Yeah, because, like, most of the bullies, they're, like, rich, so, like, you know, like, that type stuff, so, like...
It makes them, they almost get protected more?
Yeah, like, they feel like,
nothing's gonna happen.
You'll just say, I'm sorry, then don't do that again, and then they'll go back to classes, so, like, it's not really fair. They'll just be like, I just apologize, and that doesn't do anything, because you snitch... And when you snitch, the bullies will come back to you. And then, so you snitched on me. So, like, yeah.
That's a lot to handle.
Yeah. But to handle it, I faced them. There was this time, one guy was insulting me. I said, yo, mind your business. Yo, what's your problem with my life? Mind your own life. Find something to do and stop bullying people. So, like, I just gave the guy. Everyone was like...
So you wouldn't trade what you do now for anything else? You wouldn't stop acting just because of this, right?
I feel, no, because of bullying, no. I don't give a damn about what anyone says.
Yeah, you're doing what you really want to do.
Yeah.
What's the one thing you let's talk about Make Mission, and you know it's such a different movie. You know how did it feel being a part of that?
Honestly, I saw it when I was 8 years old.
Yeah.
And it came out when I was 11 years old. So when I was 8 years old, when they told me that I was 11, and then when I heard that Make Mission is coming, I'm like, oh my God, no. With that my shiny forehead, that I was like, is my acting good? Is my acting not good? Like, what will people think? Because I was 8 years old. I'm like, oh my God, my acting will be terrible. I was 9, sorry. I was 9. Yeah. I wasn't 8. I was 9. Yes. So I'm like, I had so many questions, but like, so it was good. Yeah.
Awesome. Very well done, man. Anybody in the industry you look up to or people?
Kevin Hart.
Oh, nice. Do you have some comedy in you?
Yeah, I do. Kevin Hart and what's the name of this guy? Tyler Perry used to be one of my like.
Any Nigerians?
Nigerians. No, I don't have any.
Yeah.
I wish to have. I'm still looking. I don't want to like just like put it out. I've seen people. Oh my God, you're my role model. Nah. Yeah, I have.
You are your own role model.
Yeah. Me, myself, and I.
Is acting what you want to do, like in future when you're done with school? Is that the job you want to pursue? Or is this sort of just a pastime for now?
If I find something, I'm not saying I'll stop acting entirely. I feel like I will discover like other areas.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, sorry, where am I facing? Or, I think I'll discover other areas of life, and then I'll be like.
So what are you aspiring to be now? Or what would you like to study if you further your education?
Art.
Still in the arts?
Theater.
Arts.
Yeah.
Okay. Good luck with everything, and congratulations on all the roles. Hoping to see more of you.
Thank you.
You look like you're doing well, and
Thank you so
probably
much.
inspiring other young people to follow the same path as you are, and fulfill their dreams and live through their passion. Thank you very much, Fiyin Foluwa Senuga. You can see him in so many things, especially Make Mission, which came out recently. And thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to take a break and we'll be right back. Now, Afrobeats is definitely Nigeria's biggest soft power export at the moment, and there are certain names that you have to mention when you talk about how the genre has evolved. He might not necessarily be a pioneer, but he definitely was a huge factor in shaping what we call modern Afrobeats today for so many years, and what the sound is and has become over the years. Is a legendary producer who went quiet for a bit but has come back very, very, very loudly. ID Cabasa is here with me. How are you doing?
I'm well.
Very welcome, very welcome. Good to see you again after such a long time. But first of all, I want to thank you for this reimagined thing you're doing. Even though you're taking too long to, I heard the Olufumi one. Yeah. I think that was one that blew my mind. Yeah. And then I think you did Bury Me recently as well.
Yeah, we did Bury Me. Then before Bury Me, we did...
was it Street Credibility?
Okay, after Bury Me, we did Anytime, which had Bella Shmurda, Ayo Mav, and the Ajebos.
Why are you wasting time with it?
So the first one,
okay, before we get to wasting time, what made you want to start, taking some of those classics and redoing them? Because it's a very risky thing.
So everybody is doing it now.
Yes.
Everybody is doing it. And I'm so, sincerely, if there is a joy that I have now is that everybody is doing it now. It all started from a conversation, myself and Bado. Yeah. Where we got talking about Afrobeat, the conversation around it, people technically trying to should I use the word hijack the conversation around Afrobeat and all of that? Yeah. Conversation coming from abroad that we named it, we did this, we did that. And I found out that there was a lacuna in terms of the history of the whole thing. That was where the conversation was going, that how, I know we should not keep Afrobeat, but how do we keep the conversation going? Yeah. Letting people know that, okay, it actually originates from here. Yeah. So Olamide mentioned it, that probably we should also bring back some of the sounds that actually shaped this. And it resonated with what I was planning to do. Yeah. So I just said, okay, let me create a whole body of work out of...
Sorry, it was photocopy you did first, not
street that was with
Vector. Yeah. With Vector. So just to get back to what you mentioned there, were you offended by the Akon statement? You know, Akon has talked a lot about how...
Akon did not offend me. I had to respond to that. Yes. By the way, shout out to Akon. He's a guy that everybody should respect, but we need to be careful. If there's anything that we can keep that will be a legacy for Nigeria, that will be a legacy for Africa, is the part of the conversation around Afrobeats. What Akon said, I think, was a sort of half-truth. It's like Mongo Park coming to say that he discovered River Niger and River Benue, but he met people there fishing. And you are claiming that you actually discovered. Yeah. That was how it sounded.
Yes.
Even the people he mentioned their names, these guys were already popping, they were already doing stuff. But he actually had his own, in terms of, marketing and all of those things that he did for some of these guys way back then, which was also instrumental to Afrobeat actually expanding. But you cannot come. And some of the things he said, I would say they were too heavy, that you just say that, okay, you came, you nurtured people around. No, there was a sound, there was something that attracted you. You met it here. Yeah, you did your own quota. It's the same way I can't stand and tell people that I curated Afrobeat. Yeah. I don't even have the... If I say that, people should stone me. You understand?
No, but you were a big factor, definitely.
Yeah, but
shaping what it has
I had people that I was also looking up to.
Yeah.
You understand? There were also sounds that fashioned whatever I was doing.
Are you saying there was no moment when Afrobeats crossed over? Because there's that big argument, right? Was it the Wizkid or, Burna Boy moment?
Okay.
There's people that try to go back as far as Oliver Twist with D'banj. There's people that say, oh, but there was also a time when he was sipping in with African Queen and this Fat Girls movie, and, but there was a time where artists were having to pay international acts to feature them and all of that. Do you think all those mattered, or was there a moment? Because people believe there was a moment when it happened.
All those matters, because like they will say, Rome was not built in a day. There was a momentum that was building.
There were people who claimed that they were the ones who took Afrobeats international.
Which was why I keep telling people that stop this, this charade of, we are the one, I'm the one.
Yeah.
There were things that had been... If we should go way back, we'll go way back to Fela.
True.
I was in one particular concert recently where Femi Kuti was performing. And it was a hall filled with white people. And when he started singing some Fela song that this generation might not even know, you need to see what was going on in that room. Yeah. So you know that it's... Sonny Ade also had his moment. A lot of those old folks had their moments. Yes, was it big? Not as big as what we have now.
Yeah.
If you say the big moments, sincerely, I will trace it to Wizkid, I will trace it to Burna, especially Burna. I will trace it to what Davido is doing. I will trace it to Ashake. I will trace it to, all of our guys, Omale,
like the last
Rema.
6-7 years.
Yes. Then shout out to Ira Star, by the way. Sometimes we don't even talk about the ladies that are doing numbers, the likes of Tiwa Savage, Ira Star, Yemi Alade, and all of those people. Thames, look at what Thames is doing.
Yeah.
So if you say the big moment, yes, now. But if you look at how did we get here?
There was a culture before that already.
Oliver Twist was huge. Oliver Twist was major. We should never rescind what the effect of Oliver Twist, all in the name of, yes, now there is... Remember, during that time, there was no internet to actually spread...
And that was about 12 years ago.
Nice performed on a stage that many African artists will not even... And you look at...
today can't.
You understand? You look at all of those things. These guys have been winning some of those biggest awards before now, but shout out to the likes of Burna and co that are winning Grammys and all of that now. But it started with some older generation.
Is Afrobeats to the world in decline? There are people who believe it's peaked and it has... I mean, we're still there, but it doesn't feel like people say in the last year plus, there hasn't been any major moment for Afrobeats globally.
Yeah, so we are looking for...
So do you think it's in decline?
We are looking for a moment, but I won't lie to you. Looking for a moment is like looking for something to blow. Afrobeat has already blown. What it needs to do now is to shine.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying when I say it's to shine is to infiltrate into cultures. I just got back from the UK last Wednesday. Go to any mall. They play our songs. A lot of white folks are doing Afrobeats now, which was why I said, don't keep the sound.
Yeah.
But make sure you are in the conversation.
Very important.
So if you think it's on a decline, it's like you fly, I know. When you're inside the plane, you can't really feel the speed at which the plane is moving. That is where we are now.
So
it's actually, we are going... Olamide is going to drop an album. I will not let the cat out of the bag. And you see some collaboration on the album, and you like, and you think this thing is going down. No, it's not going down, but it's shining.
Let's go back to you now in particular, and why you came back the way you did. Because you were...
I never left.
You were a legendary producer. Yes, you produced. All of a sudden now you're doing your own thing.
Yeah.
You know, why was that important to you?
So, you know, definitely to get to a point that you feel you need to do more.
Yeah.
I've had recorded tunes where you had the likes of Reminisce, Nice and all of that, that was doing music. But beyond the test of just doing stuff or to be popular, to be known, there's also a need for essence. Whatever you see me do now, trust me, there is a purpose, a stronger purpose than just doing music behind it. Like I said, I'm trying to keep a conversation alive. I'm trying to also let the younger generation know that there is a place they are coming from. You know that when that gist was going, that some people were saying that nobody paved the way for them and all of that. The older generation are angry, the younger ones are saying. So I was looking for a bridge. That I'm sure we all are talking about music. What if we bring music from then to join the energy of now? We'll create something new, which I think is actually the future of Afrobeat. Everybody is sampling old songs now. Everybody is doing that, because once you hear what is being sampled, it brings familiarity to you, and you just want to listen. So instead of going abroad to go and sample their stuff, why not we do it here? James won with Love Me Jeje, and for me, that is cultural, that is historical, that is what, basically, that is why I'm doing what I'm doing now. And also, I believe that the industry is getting a bit complicated, which people are not paying attention to. I also want to create a platform. Yes, the one that I'm doing, I'm using a lot of guys that have number, but subsequently, I also still want to go to the street, look for young guys that I believe that they are very talented, that they can keep this thing going. Put them on some of those old stuff. We create new stuff from there, because really there is nothing new under the sun. Yeah.
I wonder what you think about, you know, this conversation about, you know, Afrobeats being sort of, like you've talked about a lot. The West is taking it away from us, you know. A lot of your colleagues in the production space hardly live here anymore.
They don't live here.
Even with the ones that are living here are charging you in dollars. You know, it's sort of it's an international space now with production, especially on the level of an ID Cabasa, for example. You say you just came back from the UK. So I don't even know whether you live here with us. But you know, it's almost like we're losing a hold of it right here at home. Is that fair?
So there is the good part to it, because sincerely, the strength of most nations is in their diaspora. They go there to learn. If you notice, the quality of our sound has improved. Because now we are not just sticking to the sound that we know here. Most of our young guys are getting to learn new sound. They are getting to learn how things work. But there is a part of the identity, which is what is scaring me. The diaspora, let me say the white folks, the West, they are sounding more Afrobeats, while we are trying to sound more R&B-ish and more hip-hop, you understand? So what I think we should be concerned about is us losing our identity. That should be what we should focus on.
And I hope we don't.
I doubt if we are. I almost think recently that we've already lost it.
Wow. Does that worry you?
It does, It does. Which is why I'm
you're
still
doing
like,
what you're doing.
Let's keep doing this thing. That probably this will remind these guys that, look, don't lose who you are for just anything.
How are things with you and Nice now? Because I know you guys created these iconic moments that even till tomorrow. I played that album and I'm just like, how the hell did this come through? Then we heard about the rave that you guys made up and all of that. How are you guys doing now? Is there work coming? I don't know.
We never fought.
That's what we heard. We're not inside the parlor with you people.
So if you look at most of the stuff that I've been doing, they are Nice's old tunes. Because for me, Nice is beyond an artist to me. Nice is my younger brother. When I live here now, I live on the island, he lives on the mainland. Definitely I'm going to stop by.
Say hi.
Just to say, Nice is in the conversation that I'm also creating. People should never forget the legend of Nice. People should never disrespect what Nice gave to the culture. Which is why when I bring back some of those songs, you see the nostalgia, you see the emotion, you see the reaction and all of that. Not just Nice, there are a whole lot of them that I still intend to. Look at Star Plus. When we did Olufumi Reimagine, then people, even some of my kids were like, this song is good.
Do you think a lot of these artists are doing this because you started it? The Thames, for example, all of these songs.
I'm sure the idea has gone around before I started it.
Yeah.
But probably I just did it first.
Yeah.
And that's the way I see it. I don't think it's something that is just particular to me.
Before we go, what should we look forward to with you now? Because, I mean, you're cooking things.
Yeah, people should wait for Imagine.
Will Imagine be an album or an EP?
It is an album.
Okay.
The album is not going to be called Imagine. It's going to be called Unfinished Business.
Okay.
I think I still have some business to do in this industry.
Okay.
Before I leave them. Then, majorly, from me, I think I'm moving more into the human developmental part of this, because Nigeria has a real need for mental health, especially within the creative space. Then there's also a need for us to bridge different generations.
Yeah.
Every older generation that I've seen in my little time here on earth, we always say the younger generation, they are destroying things. Even my generation, they told us we are dead. Now my generation is telling the younger ones. So I'm looking out for a way that we can bridge all of these things. Rather than us trying to replace ourselves, we collaborate and probably make Nigeria.
That is a beautiful thing to hear. Thank you very much, Cabasa. It's such an honor to be with you here today. For those of you listening, check out whatever streaming platform you use. Just search Cabasa Reimagined and listen to any of them, and it's brilliant. Looking forward to the album Unfinished Business. This year?
This year, before July.
Oh, great. So in a few weeks then.
Yeah.
Very well done then.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here. And like I always say, you can follow the conversation on social media. Please use the hashtag Rubbin when you send us a message. I'll see you next time.